Happy tax season and happy employment. The name's Josh, and while I'm not as lucky as you little guys out there, I gotta admit, making money can be quite difficult. In fact, it got me to the point where I was thinking of becoming a drug dealer just so I can show to the IRS I am making profitable revenue to show up on my tax forms. Actually, you know what? I think I am going to become a drug dealer because I'm tired of sitting at home not being able to go on dates in my tight Hello Kitty sweatshirt. It said it was a large. Alright, so what drugs can I get my friends addicted to? Benadryl. Well, it's definitely an idea, but I don't think my friends would appreciate the spiders. And definitely not that hat guy. Tums. I mean, this would be good if they have a stomach ache, but how common is that? Oh, I got it. How about painkillers? They'll probably need it after a shift off work or something. What? Why are they so expensive? Alright, if I'm going to become a drug dealer, I'm gonna have to cheapen the production, because this is outrageous prices. And you know, my friends, they're probably gonna be like, oh, do you have this stuff while they're scratching their arm? No, I'll just improvise. Alright, so I got some flour, some expired pills from like 4 years ago, and some seasoning to make the drugs taste better when taking them. I crushed up the pills, combined the mixture, and put it in a disclosed zip bag, thinking this will be an easy way to package and distribute to my friends and their friends, along with their friends' friends. Now I just need a commercial. The thing about it is, I don't know the first thing when it comes to advertisement. All I know is, as long as the product works, it's good. So most likely I'll have to give a couple of surveys for my friends to fill out, but oh, that's right. I don't have gas money either. This sucks. This actually genuinely sucks. You know what? I made the product, you know, like there's enough to go around for all my friends. I'll just work on that tomorrow. I'll like look for some like loose change or something. Being unemployed can really take a mental toll on you, especially if it's impacting your way of living. But I think you already knew that. A NEET telling you what's good and what's bad is honestly a terrible idea. It's not a great idea whatsoever. And in fact, I literally belittle myself just from becoming unemployed. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in January of 2024, the unemployment rate was 3.7%, which has jumped by 0.4%, giving an estimate of 6.9 million unemployed people in December of the same year. People can become unemployed for a variety of reasons. I mean, you already know that, but it doesn't matter how it starts, it just matters on how it ends. The transition between working to not working can really have its effects. One moment you'd probably be like, and then 2 hours later, it's gonna become like this. That's funny. By the way, I'm not endorsing or condoning this type of behavior because being unemployed can really have its negative effects and benefits. But if I'm the first to admit it, I'll be the first to admit it. Being unemployed is actually really fun. Please don't let me get a job is actually the truest statement I've ever seen. If you have a computer, a TV, or even a phone, you can enjoy countless hours of anything your heart desires just with the small tap or press of a button. With the internet at your fingertips, money isn't even an issue. You can just pirate shit. Piracy is everywhere, lurking in every deep or shallow corner on the internet. Piracy unlocks a brand new world you never thought could be possible, and then you get a virus which completely shatters that new world into several pieces. But if you're lucky enough, you can cop a ton of free shit, especially for emulating video games. Emulation is very important, and while it can be considered piracy depending on how you use it, it might be the only way to preserve classic titles. A couple of months back, Sega had delisted a huge part of their library on all modern platforms, which include some amazing titles like Crazy Taxi, Phantasy Star 2, Jet Set Radio, and just so many other classics which are shown on screen right now. When I was working a couple of jobs back, I became really infatuated with the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series before Sparking Zero was announced back in 2023. Growing up, I was either in daycare or being babysat from the ages of 6 to 10 as my parents separated. I transferred to different daycares, but during the first time around, I had become friends with one of the owner's sons who had introduced me to many PlayStation 2 classics. These would involve Jak 3, Kingdom Hearts 2, but most importantly for the video's sake, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. I played it, I enjoyed it, hell, it literally got me into the Dragon Ball universe, and then a couple years go by and I find a copy of my own to play from a thrift store. Playing the second Budokai game made me want to play the first one, so I did. But that's where it ends for my Dragon Ball Budokai journey, until one day at work, I decided to collect all the PlayStation 2 Budokais. Purchasing these titles were very expensive, especially the last one I bought being Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which cost me a whopping $250. If I didn't sell my copies of both Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill 3, this would not even be my most expensive game. I'm honestly upset. I'm very upset that I bought God of War 2018. Don't get me wrong, it's a good game, but what the actual fuck was I thinking? And this is where emulation should come in. You shouldn't have to buy a $250 game to play it when it originally cost a fifth of that. It's complete and utter bogus, and I shall never do that shit again. Fuck. Old games require cheaper alternatives, especially if it's digital, since you don't have the complete in-box copy on your shelf. On top of that, you're also gonna have to buy the console if you don't already own it, and it's a complete hassle, so emulating is one of the best ways to play these retro games. I feel old after saying that, by the way. Alright, so now you have the console, the game, the emulator, the ROM, depending on who you are, time to play it. Video games give us players an escape from the real world, and what do we do in those? We work. It's ironic how unemployed people, including me, would say, please don't let me get a job when I'm working a 9 to 5 in the Yakuza titles. When I'm doing a quest for someone in World of Warcraft thinking, couldn't they just do this? Video games are interesting because they give us a purpose for playing them. I had to defeat an evil pig guy, rescue some princess, and restore peace to the kingdom of Hyrule. Well, let me get some medallions real quick. I have a contract to kill some dude in some weird, abstract looking world, but it seems I keep dying and losing money. Let me go fishing. I'm an attorney, and I must show the corruption and villainy this guy is up to defend my client, but also to defend the name of justice. Let me collect some evidence first. Any game will make you work or quote-unquote grind to ascend to the end of your playthrough. With these quests, missions, levels we complete, we immediately feel gratification as we are rewarded with level ups, new gear, items, skill points, currency, new locations, different minigames, story development. You name it. We as humans would rather see improvements immediately instead of the near future because we like to be rewarded almost instantly. Discipline is hard to maintain, so we go wild for a couple of nights or even a few weeks, even months. We all need work in our lives so we can retire and live our prosperous senior lives. But sometimes we just don't want to do that, and that's called sloth. While these games we play can only take a few hours to complete, the reassurance is infinite. But, as we all know, too much of a good thing can become a very, very bad thing. Postal is a franchise developed by Running with Scissors, and some of its topics can be very controversial. For starters, in the first one, after the main protagonist dude gets evicted from his house, he becomes completely insane and starts a massacre everywhere he goes, or in other words, goes postal. These levels can take place anywhere. It can take place near a grocery store, a retirement resort, even a marching parade where you can just single-handedly take out the band with some Molotovs. There are other locations as well, but I don't want to stray too far away. So while Postal is more of an arcade shooter, 6 years later, Running with Scissors released the sequel, which is considered the magnum opus of the series, and it's honestly really fun. Postal 2 is a first-person semi-immersive sim, but more of a sandbox game, where you can do whatever you possibly want in a sandbox shooter. GTA may have some cool driving and some good bops to listen to about affairs. Josie's on a vacation far away. But what GTA wishes it had that Postal 2 100% does is pissing on a random person walking by, just so they can throw up in front of you. In short, Postal 2 is a satirical take about how we can all struggle in our everyday lives. All dude does throughout most of the week is doing errands for his wife, known as the bitch, as dude is fired the very first day. If you had thought the first game was bad because of how gratuitous the violence could be depicted as, Postal 2 is the godfather of part 2 of that problem. Most of the things that show between the cracks of Postal 2 are poverty, corruption, and above all, violence. To go more in depth, there are organizations taking, for instance, the church, who only considers your sins to be abolished by contributing money. Police officers can be bribed, but they can also attack or arrest you if they see your weapon. This can cause problems because throughout the game there will be several groups who will try and kill you, including protesters that believe video games cause violence. It really can't get better than that, huh? Tunnels can be closed, the architecture can be pretty shoddy, especially with entrances like the factory. The houses look almost the exact same besides dudes who lives in a trailer. It seems like a very broken shit town, even though prices and everything is so damn pricey. be. Money is a very important asset in Postal 2 as almost everything is so expensive. To obtain money, you can't just find money on the ground or work a day-to-day job. You will most likely have to commit criminal activities. Killing someone has a chance of dropping some cash, but not enough. Kicking the ATM machine can be helpful, but it still wouldn't be enough. Robbing people's homes could potentially work, but most likely you'll find more Second Amendments instead of Amendment 634. The best way to get cash, and by far the most dangerous to do, is to rob a bank, as it can give you a rack, which is very essential for Dude as he will be spending a lot of money on errands he has to run. Speaking of errands, one of the most interesting, thought-provoking elements of Postal 2 has got to be having to wait in line to get something done. I'm seriously not joking. These waiting lines mimic the real life aspect the best, as we can't just kill people ahead of us because people will start freaking out. We have to wait patiently or we're mentally ill. Like, do I look mentally ill? Be honest. It's complete irony, it's complete satire, it's a complete game that's still relevant to this day. Considering all the world crises happening right now, Postal 2 sends a message, and it's read almost immediately. You know what's not read immediately though? My applications! Up top! Okay. When you're unemployed, you can go on some wacky adventures, let me tell ya. But at the same time, we also gotta think about our lives and our futures. We can't always be a slob or a bum. We have to get on our asses. So you know what? I think I am going to start dealing those drugs. I don't know, maybe there's something I can find in the garage worth valuable for a pawn shop for gas money. Because to be honest with you, I kinda need the money like right now. You know, and I'm already in debt. Like, I'm like, what? Oh, 2,000 in debt? I mean, it's not the worst, right? But selling these drugs, you know, that can help a lot. And another thing I could also try is those online surveys. I mean, it's just unimportant information like my mother's maiden name or my social security number. You know, it's just not that important. But I think my friends will be pleased with the drugs that I give them, and that they'll be addicted to. Well, until next time everyone, the name's Josh. And looking at the numbers, I do realize I may not be making as much money as I would hope. So I guess another business I can start doing is selling cigarettes to minors. Well, take care everyone.